The Viva Real podcast, Real Estate for the Americas, where we interview local market experts in Latin America. This is Brian Reckworth, and I'm today with Scott Bowers. He's an American expat living in the beautiful country of Costa Rica, where he owns a travel company, Package Costa Rica. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
So I want to first start off by you just telling our listeners out there how you ended up in Costa Rica, what you do out there, and give us a little background.
Sure. I came to Costa Rica first in 2001 to do a business deal. The deal took about 2 years to complete. It had me going back and forth from the States to here almost every month. So I had no idea anything about Costa Rica before that first trip. I think it was around October 2001. But it didn't take me long to kind of fall in love with the place because it's just so beautiful. And about the end of that deal, I saw tourism booming or on the verge of booming, so I decided to start a little business called Package Costa Rica, which we focus on doing travel, full travel packages to Costa Rica. Most of our clients come from the U.S., Canada.
Fantastic.
And I'm still here.
Great, man. Loving it then. Loving it out there.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. Well, happy to have you on the show. And I have a few questions, that being that you have some experience out there, and maybe kind of give some insight to our listeners. What are 3 things that people don't know about Costa Rica, but they should?
Okay. Well, Costa Rica, as a tourist destination, was more or less put on the map because of it's known as an eco-tourism spot. But many people might not know how much focus Costa Rica is on protecting the environment, and actually 26% of our entire country is either a national park, a national forest, or some sort of protected national reserve, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's more territory than any country on Earth that is protected by the government. Also, many people might not know we have 6 active volcanoes. And a lot of people talk about Costa Rica's biodiversity, but to put some statistics behind that, Costa Rica is a tiny country. It's less than 0.1% of the land mass of the planet, but it has 5% of the entire planet's biodiversity, which is an absolute amazing fact. Wow.
If it was your first time in Costa Rica and you had only 24 hours, what would you do?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we usually recommend people stay as long as they can, but if you only had that much time and you're in San Jose, there's a great tour that we put people on. It's called the Highlights Tour. It takes people around Costa Rica to see. There's several volcanoes that are close by. The Poás volcano. There's some waterfalls that can be seen close around the San Jose area. There's the Valle Carrillo National Park, which is one of our most important cloud forests. There's the Sarapiqui River. We call it the Costa Rica Highlights Tour. It kind of hits all the highlights around town. If you don't have any more time than that, that's probably be a winner for you.
One of my favorite things is to try the local cuisine. What's your favorite Costa Rican dish, and if you could describe it for us?
Well, Costa Rica is not really known for its food like some places. Mexico and other places that are really, you think about Mexican food. But here in Costa Rica, we have great vegetables. We have great fish because we have 2 coasts. We have great fruits, but probably the meal that most comes to mind when you think about Costa Rica is gallo pinto, which is generally served at breakfast. It's a rice and beans dish with various different kinds of spices in it, and it's absolutely delicious. And it'll definitely put some pounds on the midsection, though. But it's a great great thing to try if you ever come here.
Now, let's transition a little more into real estate. One of the focuses of our site. Where would you buy a piece of property if you were a retiree, and why in Costa Rica?
Well, if you're a retiree, you probably don't want to get too far out of the city. Costa Rica has a lot of beautiful country out there, but the medical care is very, very good in Costa Rica. In fact, people from other countries of Latin America and even people from the U.S. come here for the medical care. But the medical care, that quality is in San Jose. So if you're a retiree, 65 or older, let's say, you're probably not going to want to get too far away from having quality medical care and also quality infrastructure. So probably some of the communities in and around San Jose, what comes to mind is Grecia, Sarchi, Naranjo. Those are some little pueblos that are kind of up in the mountains, less than an hour from San Jose. So you kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of the city, but you're still not so far away that, if you need the the resources of the city, especially in terms of the medical care. You're close enough to get here fairly quickly. And those little pueblos are great places. They have everything you need, and plus they're beautiful views, great climate, and that's probably what I would recommend. And you can go to the coast, but you just got to remember, the coast is kind of remote when it comes to having to have some medical care in a hurry.
Speaking of the coast, there's a lot of talk about some of these developments that are happening, and more people are concerned about the environmental impact that large construction has. What is your take on that, and do you think it's an issue in Costa Rica?
Yes, it is an issue. It's kind of gotten out of control in some areas. What put Costa Rica on the map in terms of foreign investment was the Gold Coast region. That's the northern Pacific, the area of Guanacaste up around Tamarindo, Flamingo, and Coco. And there's been a lot of problems up there with developers that have been able to skirt the environmental laws somehow or another. I think a lot of it's been money under the table, and there's been some problems. If you those environmental laws are put on the books for a reason, and if you don't abide by them, things are going to happen, and that's exactly been the case. In fact, the government's had to go in and shut down some of those developments. And another area where that's happened a lot is around Jaco. Jaco has got a lot of problems these days, and we kind of recommend people away from it. There's been some problems with wastewater in the ocean. The fecal levels in the ocean have gotten high, and it's just it's a lot of it is just rampant, uncontrolled development, and it needs to the slowdown in the U.S. economy, if it has any benefit, it may be that it'll slow down some of that development and maybe give the government a chance to catch up and start doing the regulation that it needs to do.
Great, Scott. Well, thanks so much for your insight. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. This has been the Viva Real podcast, Real Estate for the Americas, where we interview local market experts in Latin America. Thanks so much for being on the show. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate the opportunity, Brian.